Hi, my name is Claddy and today I'm gonna make a video about my entire blush, bronzer and highlighter collections, also my face palette collection, so technically cheek product collection. Yeah, I have everything in front of me right now and I'm gonna do it based on categories, so blush, bronzer, highlighter and face palette. Besides eyeshadow palette, I think cheeks are my favorite step in my makeup routine, specifically blush and bronzer. Not quite highlighter, but I still have some highlighter and I use them every now and then. So I think it would be fun to kind of look at my entire collections. I did a video, I think a few weeks ago, talking about my eyeshadow palette collections. You can check it right here if you want to, and I had so much fun with that, so I think this is kind of another installment of that collection playlist that I want to do, because I feel like I don't show enough appreciation towards my makeup collections as much as I should, and I just have beautiful products I want to enjoy working with. I want just to look at it. If it's just like looking at it, I feel like I have all of the beautiful, I have variety, I have different texture and formulations in my collection already, and I want to take this as a chance for me to not thinking about new items, because that could be very detrimental and I don't want to go into that wasteful route of keep buying things. So I hope you enjoyed this video and let's get started. And this is everything I have in my blush collections, like individual blush product. I have other blush in my face palettes as well. I don't really discriminating face palette. I enjoy my palettes, face palettes actually. I don't know, like some people, they said individual pen blushes or bronzer, they are more convenient, so you can just think of the color, the texture, the formula that you like and then you go for them, which is easier. But I don't mind. I love look at a blush palette and think of different ways I can use them, mixing them together, etc. So I thought I had more individual blush, but I don't. But this is like, it's for a regular makeup consumer, this is quite a bit of blush. I have different colors, I have different kind of finishes, so I feel like this is quite a lot, even though it doesn't look as abundant as I fantasize it would look like. Okay, let's start with Colourpop. I have this blush stick in the shade 25 8 or like 25th August, I'm not really sure. And this is the color on the back of my hand. I feel like it looked a bit orange in this swatch, but it actually, I think it's pretty neutrally pink in persons, and I feel like this is such a kind of middle of the road in terms of interesting choice of colors. So it's very basic. It's a neutral pink with a little bit of warmth in it. You can see there's a bit of red, but overall this is an okay formula that I enjoy using from time to time, but I don't feel like blush in a stick like this is actually my preferred type of cream blushes. I don't know, because with bronzer, when it's in the stick, it has this kind of precisions when it comes to applications. It's not the same with cream blush, like in the stick. You know what I mean? Like, because you want to sculpt your face, and there's like certain area that you want to precisely apply the cream bronzer, like cream contour on your face. So it's functional to have a bronzer in the stick to me. But with a blush, I prefer a cream formulation in like a pan or like in a squeezy tube, because either way I want to have some product on the back of my hand and then use a brush or a sponge to blend it out. I want to control the intensity and the amount of product I'm going to apply to my cheeks by kind of handling it at the back of my hands first. So this is an okay formula, not really my favorite, but this is such a versatile, it's so easy to use, and it's really functional in terms of everyday usage, so that's why I keep it. Next up we have this Juicy Pang blushes from Apu, and I got the shade PE01. I'm not sure about the name of the product. This is just a code. Yeah, it's in Korean, so I cannot read it. And this is the swatch. This is like a orangey nude color. It's really unique in my collections, and it has this gel liquid texture that initially blends out to be pretty sheer on your face, but you can build it up. And I think the finish is like this glossy, dewy, kind of supple and very gorgeous finish going on. So I really like the finish. I'm not sure about the color though. Like, I don't think the color is my absolute favorite, but it's unique and I can find its place to my collection. So I really enjoy this blush, and it's cute. Look at the packaging. It's really cute. It's like a nail polish bottle. And by the way, this is not a declutter video. I don't frequently declutter my makeup because they are very precious, and I rather want to find a way to make them work, because I don't have a big collection to start with, so I have this kind of tolerance to store them and to keep them as long as I can. I don't have that rapid turnover rate when it comes to makeup products, so I know some of the products I'm gonna tell you that I don't really like it and I don't really use them, but I'll keep them, because if there's one way or like one particular occasions for only one purpose that I think I can use them for, I'll keep them and use it for that purpose, because that's kind of my ideology and my principle when it comes to buy and use my makeup collections. That's just my personal opinion. And if you are the one who want a very curated collection, you want every single item in your collections to perform at its absolute best, and then you don't want to keep mediocre product, that's what I mean. So, and if declutter is something that you do routinely, that's also the way to strategize your makeup collections. But this is my way to do it, and I tend to keep a lot of items in my makeup collections as long as I can, and then use it as much as I can. This is the fingertip peep balm from the brand Amimi, and this is a gorgeous muted deep rose shade with a bit of red and purple in it. This is I think by far one of my favorite shades when it comes to blushes, and it's so flattering on my skin tone. Everything with a hint of red and purple. It's kind of like neutral, leaning a bit more cool tone is actually my taste when it comes to blush color. And this is such a nice formula. It had this gel creamy texture, very smooth, also a sheer finish, and super dewy, a little bit glossy but not too sticky. So it's kind of like right there in the middle, in like the optimum range of all of the beautiful aspects of a cream blush. I really like it. Another cream blush is the SEPHORA All-in-One's cream color. I got the shade number 5, Crazy Cherry. So this cherry red is a bit of a jewel red. It has a little bit of orange and pink undertone, but I believe, if I judge it correctly, it's kind of a true red. And this is a cream to powder formula, so it's the type when you touch it, you feel the creaminess on the pan, because the warmth of your fingers kind of activate the emollient quality of the formula, but then when you blend it out, it turns into this very matte sand velvety finish. I like this blush. I'm not sure about the color though. In an ideal world, I would be a red blush girly, but in fact I'm not. So I find these colors not very complimentary on me in a lot of looks. So I get these preference things, like in a way you look at one color and you feel like, oh, I could use that color a lot. And this is a beautiful color though. Look at that. Oh, stunning. But it has modal vectors. This is not even my favorite color to wear as a blush. Somehow it doesn't look very flattering on my skin tone. And for the style of makeup look that I usually do these days, maybe this vibrant, really in the face color wouldn't be a perfect choice, so I don't blame the blush. I think it's very circumstantial, but I do enjoy the formula. This is once again a very unique formula in my collections, and I tend to keep products that are unique to my collection so that I know if there's a way that I want to do it, and if I learn new technique and is geared towards that specific formula, I know that I can start to learn that technique using a product I already owned. I have this flavedo and albedo cream blush. It's actually called Dew Tint in the shade Toffee. This is the color. This is like a brick red with a lot of brown in it, and it's leaning a bit like yellow, so it's coolish in a way. It's like has a lot of cool tone brownness also, so it's such an interesting color. And this is my favorite formula. This is my favorite cream blush in my collection right now, and I stand by it. It's the beautiful colors, one thing, but also I like the finish. It's kind of a very creamy texture, so almost sticky, but it's set down. It's set down to a sand and dewy finish that's not totally matte, but very natural. And with the sun moisturizing quality on the skin, it shows up to be so natural, like so skin-like, like your skin is actually flushes. And I like the color, and I enjoy the formula. I think I have so many good things to say about this formula. And the brand is a cool Australian indie brand, and they do really cool, interesting products, but then in a minimal way. So I like that idea. Like, I want to find more brands like that, like doing cool colors, cool concept of products, but in a minimalistic way, not too artistic. Not because artistic makeup is not user friendly. I know a lot of people who are very good at that, but just for me, I want a pop of color. I want one bold colors on my face, and that's the level of artistic makeup that I can attend. So that's kind of also personal, and I just one way to say that I really like the direction of this brand. I think this year I might purchase more products from this brand. That's my plan. Also get another shade of this Dew Tint because I like it so much. And this is the Patrick Ta Duo blushes. You have a cream and a powder. I got the shade Oh She's Different. This is the cream blush and this is the powder blush swatch. They are close enough colors, but different enough for me to only want to use one at a time. So if you know Patrick Ta, they have the dual cream and powder blushes, bronzers, and the newly released highlighters. The recommendation is that you apply the cream first and then the powder on top, which is not really my preference. Like I said, I want to use them individually because I think both of them are too good to be mixed together, and then you have the concoctions that you don't know whether you prefer the cream or the powder. Overall, this used to be my favorite blush because it's beautiful. It has this coolness in terms of undertone. It's a kind of a vibrant berry shade with a bit of red, with a bit of purple, and I really like this color. And the cream blush is really good because it has a glossy finish, so it's not opaque. It's very sheer, also dewy enough to not feel like it's flat on my skin, but also not sticky at all. And I think if you have to like mix them together, or if you want to layer them, I don't think it wouldn't be an issue. I actually prefer the powder blush. I don't know why, but this is such a color. Like, it's even more pink and more purple and more cool on my skin, this powder blush. And it's so soft and so blendable, and you can build it up. It has this kind of richness, so maybe it's really pigmented, but there's something rich and supple about the formulations and the color that I really enjoy. I also have a powder blush from Sephora. It's called Colorful Blush, and I have the shade Trust Yourself. This is a very different color from what I have shown you. This is so cool tone and pale. And something I don't like about this formula is that it's really hard pressed, and it's really hard to pick up. And also because it's so hard pressed, hot pan developed immediately after you hit your first brush on it. That's something I don't like about this formula. It's like I have to build up the finish quite a bit to get to the intensity that I want. But I think this lavender muted pink color, it's not quite the baby pink that has been very viral in the last few years, because it's very grayish with a lot of lavender bluish undertone in it, but it's close enough to make me feel like I'm not really missing out on that trend. And the fact that I don't really enjoy the color as much as I thought I would reminds me that I don't need to follow all of those trends. And this is the swatch on my hands. You see, like, it show up to be a bit chalky and pale pink on my hands, so that's kind of what I feel like. It's very reminiscent of the baby pink, the color from Dior, that has been so popular. And like I said, it's not something special and not something actually versatile. Like, if you have really pale and more of a light complexions, there would be like a natural flush, natural color on your skin. Maybe if you have like pink olive undertone, it would be very flattering. But somehow, to me, because I have light to medium complexion with warm undertone, it just looked a bit too far away from my natural complexions. I find a hard time to make this color work on my skin tone. So it's kind of a thing. Like, if you really want to follow the trend and just buy the viral product, or just like take a step back. I think I regret these decisions a little bit now that I talk about it. It's like, maybe I should have taken a step back from that decisions to go for such a viral color and think about the practicality will color apply this on my warm complexions. I don't know, but I think I'm glad to have it. I regret, but still glad to have it because it's really unique. And like I said, I want to keep the uniqueness in my collection. I have this very old and looks very crusty and dusty blush from Essence. You know, the original blush. It's very affordable. You can get it for like $3-4. And I don't remember the shade because I broke the packaging and I dropped it and I had to repress it. Yeah, I don't really know the color. Maybe it's number 10, Beloved or something. It's a peachy nude with quite a bit of coral and orange in it. And as insane as it sounds, I feel like I would want to repurchase this one in the near future. Maybe not right now, but I've been using it. Like after I repressed it, I feel like I've used it quite a bit up to this stage, and I enjoy it enough, and it's so affordable. Like even in Australia, it's still very affordable. It's in the original line of Essence, which cost me less than $5 to get this blush. But if I ever got it, I would get like a different color, maybe a color that a bit more pink, because my preference is something that pink rather than corally peach like this. This is not bad, but maybe this is already the more pink one in the line, I'm not sure. But if I got one, I would get the pinkier version of this blush. But this is such a great blush. At this price, it's very soft, it's really lightweight, it's so blendable. It just gives you this effortless color. I was about to say glow, but it's really not glowy at all. It's a really matte blush, but it's not flat. It's natural enough to, if you have like a dry or kind of dull and normal complexions, I feel like sometimes going for too dewy blushes will make your skin look unnatural and feel like you're trying really hard to be dewy, because maybe the dewy state is not native to your skin. So if I have like a dry skin day, I feel like if I stick to the sand and matte territory of my complexions, it would be better. So this one is really good. If I don't feel like using any cream blush on that day, if I just want a reliable sheer non-pigmented blush that gives me enough of life to my cheeks, I would go for this one. I have this little GALifornia blush from Benefit. This is like the original packaging, but like in the mini versions. It was so popular back in the day. Like I remember when I owned even like just the mini version of it. It feels so special. Like it was such a holy grail at the 2016-2017 era of makeup, and this is a cool packaging, I feel like. And I don't really mind the infamous box packaging, like even though this is like even more inconvenient because it's such a tiny box. Kind of like mini versions is even more nonsensical for them to make it in this kind of very deep pants. Like it stay really deep in the box. And look at the mirror. What is the point of this mirror? Like I can only see one eyeball, just the eyeball in this tiny mirror. And this is such a warm tone blush, maybe with a bit of peachiness and a bit of brown in it, but it technically is so warm and really not my favorite. I just feel special that I own it. I don't really feel special that I can actually use it, which is a conundrum ever. And I think because I already mentioned the 2016-2017 era, and I feel like all of the makeup there was so warm. So like they were really into it, this orange, very warm tone brown makeup. That's why this color was really popular, I believe, but it's a reference. Once again, I don't think of makeup and think that I would wear this kind of color, and the formula is forgettable. Maybe they have improved the formula in the new packaging. Maybe they have reformulated the new one that they released, and they have tons and tons of shades. Actually, with Benefit, I really want to try the Hoola bronzer, that one thing, and also one of the pink or like deep plum shades in the new line right now. I don't know, but this one is really not my favorite. It's a juicy multicolor blush brick from Soap and Glory. Is it the shade Peach Party? Because if you look at the back, it says Apricot Jam. So I don't know which one is the brand, and I couldn't find it anywhere else. I got this one on a trip to Thailand like a few years ago, and it's a mystery. It's a mystery. I don't know why I got it. I don't know whether it's real or not, or it's just my delusions. But it's so pretty. Look at it. Look at the pen. It's so pretty, and it's kind of a highlighter, but they say blush brick, so I'm not sure. It looks more like a highlighter. It feels more like a highlighter, but because it's quite deep, so you have maybe 4 different colors. So you have this champagne shade, you have the pink shade, you have the bronze shade, and you have this rose gold. I feel like maybe 3. Maybe I'm confusing myself. Maybe there are only 3 shades. These 2 are the same. Yes, 3 shades. And if you mix them together or you use them individually, they are quite dark for me to use as highlighters. So I prefer using this product, mixing all together or individually, each shade as blush topper, and it's so beautiful. This is such a beautiful product. It has this dryer bag formula, so it's very rough to the touch. It wasn't appealing to me if I only have to swatch this product and not being able to use it, and I would feel like, oh, this is like the driest texture to ever exist. But it's so beautiful, so not really subtle, also not really blinding, but I love it. This is so refined and so well formulated, in my opinion. It's so flattering on the skin, and it doesn't enhance any texture, which is very surprising. With this kind of shimmering particle and a bit glittery, you would feel like, wow, we can technically see any pores on our face with this kind of product. But because it's so fine, so it's glittery, but it's like very finely glittery, everything melted to your skin so nice. You can use them as a highlighter if your skin is dark enough, but just with this product on top of any blush, this product on top of a cream blush, oh, juicy, glowy, glossy, anything beautiful, heaven. So gorgeous. I think this is more of a popular product. It's from MAC. It's the Mineral Blush in the shade Lovejoy. As far as individual blushes go, I don't have any shimmering blush except this one. This is like the first and the only shimmering blush, like the real intended shimmering blush that I own in my collections, and it's this kind of muted rosy but like warm nude shades. It's like rosy nude. It's really cool, and it's beautiful. Also a very famous and very well formulated formula, but I don't think I'm missing out on shimmering blush, to be honest. I have this blush brick from Soap and Glory that I can turn any matte blush into a shimmering blush if I want to, and I have this one. This is a beautiful color that I can wear almost every day if I feel like. It's so nice, and it makes my cheek has volume in it, like you know that feeling. And it's very apparent when it comes to dewy blush that it's not gonna make your skin looks flat as much as matte formulation can do to your skin. If matte formulation done well, they won't do that. That would be like a no-go. But with hydrating and shimmering and even a bit dewier product, it's gonna make your cheek feel like it's fuller, it has more volume, and it looks like higher towards the temple of your face. I'm not sure if that's kind of a correct recollections of makeup theory, and it has been recommended to me at the MAC store that I went to, and I feel like that's one of the very few times I feel like the assistant, she knew my preference and she recommended me something that's very beginner friendly, but not like, oh, you should do this, don't do that. It's kind of like a starting point that very malleable and versatile for me to work with. And it's a beautiful color. It's right up there in my alley. It's warmer than I would want to, but it has enough neutrality in it, so I feel like I can enjoy it. This is such a nice purchase. We are moving to my bronzer collections. I even have a smaller bronzer collections. I actually have 3 cream liquid bronzers, so maybe we'd start with those first. I have this Dewy and Daring bronzer from the brand Australis. I got the shade Ride or Die. This is a very warm bronzer. It has a bit of like even orange and yellow undertone in it. This is really warm. It's even like warmer than my actual preference, but I don't mind it because you can see the finish is pretty shea. It's not pigmented and it's not really that obvious on my skin when blended out. So there was only 2 shades in the original release of this bronzer, but later on they added 2 more shades, so I bought it when there were only 2 original shades. The lightest shades was really contoury, like it was really cool tone, and I don't think it would show up that well on my skin tone, so I picked a darker shade. So it turns out to be warmer, and I could say like it's a bit dark to my skin tone, but I don't mind it because if I use just a tiny bit and blend it out nicely to my skin, it's had this sheer bronzy really nice finish. And this is the example when I said I like bronzer in a stick. It's really precise to apply it. Like there's like certain points on your face that you can draw certain like dot lines, and then just like really easy to blend out in details. That's what I mean. Like you don't need to fuss about picking up like a certain amount of bronzer and then maybe you accidentally use like a larger brush to pick it up, and now you have like a patch of muddiness on your face. But if you place bronzer in a stick form like this on your face in just tiny areas and start with them and then build up if you need to, it's really convenient, really beautiful. It doesn't feel like it's a chore to blend out cream bronzer. That was kind of a pet peeve to me when I first learning how to use cream bronzer, because I feel like it's such a chore. There's so much to learn. I don't even like shaping my face as much. Like bronzers, they are not meant to like give your face such a sculpted look. They don't meant to give you that kind of definitions, but at a certain degree you can achieve that with bronzing product, using them as a contour and bronzer hybrid. And this one is really ideal to start off that process. So this is quite a vanilla one in my collections. It's from the Body Shop. It's the Freestyle Multitasking color. It's set shimmery because they actually have matte finish, like some of the colors that have matte finish to use as blushes. So this kind of like multitasking color, you can use it in everywhere that you want. So this is actually meant to be a highlighter for darker complexions, but I like to use this as my shimmering liquid bronzer. This bronzer, it has a moussey texture when you blend it out, but it's very glossy, very shimmering, and the color is so great. It's so neutral, not too warm, not too cool, and I love it. I love it as a bronzer so much. Like, I like it much more than I thought I would, and it's so, I mean, so amazing. Like, it was such a journey, it was such a revelation when I went to the body shop store and I swatched this product, and even though it said it was meant to be a cream eyeshadow, like shimmering cream eyeshadow or a highlighter, but I thought, oh, this could be amazing as cream bronzer on my skin, and it actually is. So I like it. I just like the finish. Like, it's so natural and glossy. It's not muddy at all, and I love mixing it. Like, if you use it as a mixing medium, it's gonna be so perfect because it's so thin. You can actually thin out some of the thicker, more pigmented cream blushes or cream bronzers, and now you have a gel-like, very dewy, very translucent finish that you know is not gonna be messy on your face, and you can use like a certain amount without thinking that it's gonna be too much, because it has this kind of gel-like, very oily, I would say, moisturizing, maybe moisturizing and hydrating is the right word. You feel like it soaks into your skin without feeling greasy or sticky at all. So this is the swatch of the top bronzer. Like, you can see I blend it down towards my wrist, and yep, it's kind of like, how can I say it? It's emollient but very blendable. It feels like you can blend it indefinitely, although when you first swatch it, it feels like it's a cream to powder formulations, which has like a matte sand finish, but it's so creamy and emollient. You can blend it to the infinity. That's what I meant. And it's kind of a very easy to use formula in that way, because you can apply such a small product and then you blend it to your skin and it doesn't disappear. This is still very, very decently pigmented so that it doesn't disappear on your skin, but then if you want to build it up, you pick up a little bit of more product and then you continue to blend it out and it's still there. So there's something magical about this formula that I like. I really enjoy this bronzer, but I've never heard anyone else talk about it, even though it's from Tarte, which is a very, very popular brand. And it's neutral. I like the undertone. This is kind of the best bronzer when it comes to color and undertone. It's so neutral. It's not warm at all. It's just like right there, straight neutral on my skin, so I don't have to worry ever that it's gonna get muddy or orange. It's kind of like a dead sentence when it comes to bronzer, that it is not allowed to be orange. And this one is perfect. It's such a great cream bronzer formula. Now we have 5 powder bronzers. Let's talk about the butter bronzer from Physician Formula. This is the old packaging. I think this is the original formula. I'm not sure. I bought it a few years ago, and I have the shade bronzer. This is a very light, also neutral bronzer. At Physician Formula, they make really, really good bronzers and powder products in general, so I don't really have to talk about the quality of the product. I think this is a great bronzer. It's very soft, so sometimes there's a lot of kickback, but it's so nice and finely milled and so sheer on the skin, to the point when I feel like this shade might not be a right shade for me. It's just too light. If I ever picked up Physician Formula bronzer again, I would go for a darker shade, maybe like a deep bronzer. Yeah, so this is a great neutral shade, but in terms of the saturation, it's quite sheer and quite light for my skin tone. It's a matte, but has like an interesting glow to it, so shimmering, glowy, but not because of the particles, like the shimmering glittery particles in the formula. Like, it's really hard to detect any particles, although if you look closely there might be some. Overall, there's something about the formula that maybe like there's a certain ingredients that catches the light in a very cool way that make it like sad and glowy without actual shimmering particles in it, which is really, really cool. But I have to admit that I have forgotten to use this bronzer for a while, because I don't know, maybe like in the last few years I'm not really interested in bronzer that much anymore. I still wear them every single time that I do my makeup, but like I'm not interested in bronzer particularly, so I forgot to use this one pretty much every time. And yeah, I'm just more of a blush person right now, if I have to say. Another affordable one is from Catrice. This is a Sun Glow Matte Bronzing Powder. I have the shade medium, maybe it's for medium skin, I'm not sure. I think it's called number 30 Medium Bronze. It's a silky soft matte powder which provides a natural looking tan all year round, suitable for every skin type, dermatologically tested. I don't know why I read it, but I did. Formula wise, I don't think this is a bad bronzer. I do like the formula, the straight matte formula. It said it's silky matte. I'm not sure about that because it's not any silkier than the Physician Formula bronzer, but it's a decent matte formula. I just have like a really hard time with this color. It turns very, very orange on my complexions, and yes, I don't really like this bronzer. I just feel like I want to have options when it comes to matte bronzers in my collection. That's why I keep it. And maybe like in the grand scheme of things, this is not even the most orange bronzer in my collection, so I continue to keep it. But if I have to be very honest with myself, this is an okay, like compare it to other bronzer that I have, compare it to the Physician Formula one, it's just kind of really, really low there, really low in my ranking. And this is the Too Faced. It has a very like shiny packaging. And this is the chocolate gold Soleil bronzer. This is a beautiful compact, by the way. Like, look at it. This is what's in the inside. It has a little bit of hard hand, like, and then I broke it a little bit, so it looks quite nasty from the inside. But if you look at the actual product in the pristine conditions, it looks quite nice. And this is a darker shade compared to the other two, but it's more of a reddish neutral shade, yeah, just a bit darker. And this is a shimmering formula. This is the formula that you can actually see the golden shimmering particle, and obviously because of the name Gold Soleil bronzer, I think it's intended to be this kind of shimmering, almost glittery bronzer, and I don't mind it. It's really nice on my skin, like, if I have to be honest. The glitter, the shimmering ones, blended away almost immediately, so it's not obvious, but it's definitely very, very shimmering. and you can see that, like if you look closely, you can see the particle lingering on your face, but overall it's not like stage makeup glittery type situation, if you know what I mean. It's a beautiful glittery type of finish, so I do enjoy it, and it's just nice. I really like the packaging. I keep it for the packaging. I bought it for the packaging. There was a phase that I was really obsessed with Too Faced. I got the bronzer, I got the chocolate, the original chocolate bar palette, and it turns out that Too Faced is not any special. It's kind of the makeup that you own. Maybe think of it as makeup rather than decorations or a piece of art. With Too Faced, it's kind of like too much of the packaging, especially, or like maybe it's just that kind of era, the era that's a few years back when they do a lot of cool packaging products, and now when that phase is over, people realize that, oh, they're just a makeup brand. The makeup brand should rely on their quality and the originality, the ideas, the innovations of every single release rather than just the packaging. Okay, I have a little tiny bronzer. It's from the Kind Collective. This is an Australian brand. It's really affordable. I think you can find it at Priceline or Big W if you're in Australia. It only has 2.1 gram product in it, which is really tiny. It's really tiny. And I had the shade Glorious. It's also a shimmer bronzer. This is even of a redder shade of bronzer in my collections. Like if you see the gradient, it's really interesting. If you look at them together, now you can actually how they compare to each other, and you see the actual gradient. So at first, this one is quite warm, but now it's almost grayish if you think of this one. So this is kind of a copper shade. It's also a shimmering formula. I think these two are quite similar, the Too Faced one and the Kind one, and I don't mind any of them. I think I like shimmering bronzer for reasons, but I also enjoy matte bronzer for also some reasons. I don't discriminate both my shimmering and matte bronzers. Like I think I use them for different purposes and they suit different makeup style or like makeup look that I go for on that day. So I don't think I have like a straight preference between matte and shimmer. I just feel like the shade is really dark. Like I really have to use a light hand with it. Like really have to control myself. And it helps when it has like such a small pan, when I don't need to scared that I pick up too much product when I dip my brush into the pan, because it's small either way. There's not much product to begin with, but I really have to be wary every time I use this one because it can be really dark. But maybe I should start to use this as an eyeshadow. Maybe, yes, using it as an overall one and done eyeshadow because it looks really coppery, really fiery, and just really nice. And the last one, also the newest one, also the favorite bronzer in my collections is the RMS Beauty Redimension Hydro Bronzer in the shade Beach Walk Betty. This is a rosy bronzer that people have talked about for a while. I know a lot of people love it and I love it, and this is just a phenomenal bronzer. And this is the swatch. You can tell it's absolutely pinky and rosy, and I love the undertone. I love using this. It's a bronzer, also blush, also a bit of a highlighter. So if I just want to use one product, I would go for this one. This is like the blonzer epitome of what I would want to wear as a blonzer. It's such a cool product. It has this finely shimmering finish as well. So if I have to pick a favorite, I think I would go for shimmering bronzer because I have a shimmering bronzer. That's my absolute favorite and I like it for the undertone, for the finish, also for the feeling. To to the touch also on your face. Like it has this gel light cream to powder finish, so refined, but it's easy to pick up with a brush, and it has this like gel cream quality, like it stayed gel cream even when you already started to blend it out on your skin. So sometimes when you pick it up with a brush for some product, you pick it up with a brush and then you start to blend it out and it turns to totally matte. It doesn't have that kind of emollient gel-like quality anymore, which makes it a bit powdery and like dusty, like you see a lot of dust. It's okay when you continue to blend it out, but I would want the creaminess to retain a little bit longer when I blend it, and it hits very well with this bronzer. And I think that's kind of the coolness of this bronzer, which is I've never seen it before, because like I said, I have somewhat of a smaller collections. I haven't tried much products in my lifetime of doing my makeup, so I feel pleased and like precious, and I'm just thankful that I had a chance to try this bronzer, at least in this lifetime, at least for this time of my life, and I feel like it's so special. That's why I feel very sentimental for the uniqueness of my makeup collections, that I feel like what an amazing journey that I can try it. Like in the vast oceans of makeup products, right now I pick it and I feel like this is just a cool, unique and beautiful product. I don't need to know any other product, which I cannot know because I don't try them, but if I have a chance to try this product and I know how amazing it is, maybe there's something special about my decisions that I picked it. I don't know. Does it really make sense? Okay, single highlighter. I don't have too many of them. I only have 4 here, so it's going to be a very quick one. Let's start off with the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter. I got the shade Pearl. This is a very old highlighter, but I think this formula is really interesting. You can say it's like a kind of putty-like texture, which is really cool. But the shade is really, really light, like very icy, pearly white color with like a silver, a bit yellow undertone, which is not very firing on my skin tone. I need a bit more, not technically warmth, but rather some color, like some pigment, something that my skin has. Maybe a bit of pink, maybe a bit of peach, maybe a bit of nude bronze, but rather this stark white color. I think the formula is interesting. It's very beautiful. It looks quite natural. So I mean, I don't mind too much of the color because it's quite creamy, and yeah, it's a cream highlighter and it's quite sheer in terms of finishes, not too opaque, which is why it's not too blinding. I like it in that way, but this is definitely not my favorite formula when it comes to highlighter. Next one is also a product from Physician Formula. This is actually a blush. It's the Butter Blush in the shade Natural Glow. But I don't really think that I can ever use this one. The blush is so light. It's the butter formulation. But this one is very different from the bronzer to the butter bronzer. I think it's a bit drier. It's not that sheer glow type of formulations that I've just mentioned about the butter bronzer. It's really dry, and it has this kind of naturally glowy finish, which can be really good as a natural highlighter. It's actually pretty good as a natural highlighter with like just a bit of glow, with a bit of like blurring satin finish. and I do enjoy using it as a highlighter. Like you see, it's not as metallic as the real highlighter one, and this color is like a champagne goldy highlighter. I could never use it. It has a bit of pink tinge in it. Maybe that's why it could be a blush for a lot of people, but I couldn't see many, to be honest. It's straight up a very light golden peach, and that's the only way. Highlighter is the only way that I can find myself uses, and I don't even like it that much, to be honest. It doesn't serve the purpose that it's supposed to be. Like if it's a butter blush, like a real colorful a blush on my skin tone, I would be more intrigued in using it. I have this Fenty Beauty Killer Quad Freestyle Highlighter Duo. This is the same Me and Money. This is Hustler Baby, and you can see this is like more of a natural highlighter. This is more sparkly, and they are both this kind of pinkish champagne like highlighter. I don't really know how to describe this color. It's more of this one's more of my skin tone. This one is kind of like a similar shade, but with like gold glitter in it. So the natural highlighter is the one on top, and the glitter one is the one at the bottom. Like if you look closely, you can see some of the shine from the natural one, and this is like, even when it's more obvious, more sparkly, I don't think it's the most intense highlighter that I ever used owned. And I do really like using the natural highlighter, so I think my favorite at the moment is this natural highlighter from Fenty, and I think it's kind of like a glowy finishing powder. I think I can use this one for that purpose, and it looks really healthy. Like I don't want glittery, too intense highlighter on my skin anymore. I don't mind this one, but it's a bit too warm. It has this very strong golden undertone, leaning a little bit yellow, like, so like the golden glow is not healthy anymore, and now it's into a bit cartoony yellow color, you know what I mean. Overall, this is a really good duo, but I actually have this natural, more of a nude with a bit of a warm undertone is my preference. I have Colourpop in the shade Flexitarian. So I think this is also one of a very popular product from Colourpop, especially the shade, the Super Shock Jig Pearlized formulation. This is a very beautiful product. You can tell it's so gorgeous. It's almost shifty, but it has this beautiful glow pearlescent finish. And this is actually an intense highlighter that I really like, because it's very creamy, and I can use a little bit of it and to get the full intensity. But unlike the Physician Formula one, this color is more warm, neutral, light to medium friendly, like my skin tone. So it's just more flattering on my skin tone, and it's even like more sparkly. And I feel like there's something refined about it, and I like the word pearlized because it's just so gorgeous. And the last category is face palette. I have quite a few face palette here with me. I'm not gonna swatch all of them because it's gonna be such a pain to my hand. But I'm gonna talk through all of them, and I can see some of my favorites is already here. Maybe start with this kind of quad right here. It's called Blossom Lighting. The brand is So Natural, and I think the product is powder for. Actually, it's not a powder, it's a cream blush and highlighter quad. You have 2 cream blushes and 2 highlighter. I like this formula, to be honest, and I enjoy the color. These are like this muted soft pink and coral with a lot of white base in it, and the formula is very emollient, almost very slick, oily. It's kind of trendy actually at the moment with this kind of creamy formula, like not too intense kind of a look with like a sheer wash of color in every single product you apply. And because the formulation is like popular and trendy right now, it reminds me that I already have something that could help me achieve those kind of looks, even though this product is not popular at all. I've never heard it talked about. I'm not sure that I've seen any products from this brand, but I have formula, like product at the end of the day is something you use, and the content of a makeup product is the most important part. So the brand and the marketing, the packaging, and all of the hype and virality about this is kind of secondary if you like judge a product for the product. And I have this one, and I kind of like, maybe I don't need those other trendy products, because this one is really good. The cream highlighters, Perfections. This pink one, it has this kind of coolish purple grayish undertone in it. So nice, and there's a very emollient and blendable and so sheer, so I can just apply them, build them, and maybe set them down with like a powder, and it still looks very natural. And it's natural and it's very true to my skin tone. This is called e.l.f. Modern Metals. It's from the Modern Metal collections I got. Yeah, the eyeshadow palette from this collection that I show in my eyeshadow palette collections. And the same thing is that this packaging is really cheap, and I don't think the formula of the highlighter and the blushes are that great. And also because the packaging, also from, I like the colors. Now that I look at it, I feel like the colors are so great, especially two blushes right here, so right up my alley. And this highlighter, it's gonna be really nice. It's a glowy blush, but I have been neglecting this product for a while already. I'm not sure if I could get back and enjoy it anymore, but I'll try to. Like, it's really good that now I know that it's here, and I see the beautiful pinky colors, just like these three colors, just these sections of this palette right here for me. I feel like I should get back and try to use it more often. Oh, this is Catrice collaborations with Iman. I never know about this content creator. Like, maybe she's also on YouTube. This is the blush palette. This is a very vibrant palette, to be honest, and it's very pigmented. And the fact that it's pigmented and it has two darker shades, I like this color. Like, this is a wonderful, like, bronzy blush, and it's deep. So I think I supposed that I just forget that these colors are also very trendy right now. Also the pink. Yes. So, okay, maybe I should pull it out and use it more, because now these colors are so wonderful, and I've been kind of like in the urge of buying more blushes. But like, I do have this quad right here with interesting colors, and it's really pigmented. Like, it's kind of one of the things that make me a bit intimidated to use this one. Like, it can get very pigmented and dark on my skin tone. Ooh, Glow Kit from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Aurora, the name of the Glow Kit. This is really old and disgusting. I don't know why I still keep it. Maybe because it's Glow Kit, and because it used to be my favorite highlighter formula. Like, something about it that's not dry at all. Is a powder highlighter, and I knew you have cool colors in here. Like, at that time, 2017, who wouldn't want an ABH Glow Kit? And these beautiful colors, like, it's not generic at all. That's really cool and interesting, especially this purple one. So nice. It has like a pink shift to it, so it's not really dark purple on your skin. It still has some purple accents, but it shows up really pink on your face, and I really enjoy this one. But if you look closely, it's really old and there's oil coming out the pan, and yeah, stain the packaging a little bit. I know it's old, but like I want to keep it. Like I just want to keep it. It's beautiful and it was so special at the time that I got it, so I want to keep it for the sake of keeping a piece of makeup history in my collection. Talking about favorites, I have this Tarte Iron Cheek palette, also very old. No one has talked about this, but this is my favorite. I have this Amazonian clay blush. It's a powder blush in the shade Abstract. I don't know if they have this shade in their mainstream permanent line, but if you know about the Tarte powder Amazonian clay blush formula, it's natural, it's definitely matte, but it's so natural and gorgeous, and it's sheer but still pigmented, and maybe it's because of the color. Even though you apply sheer or like full pigmented, full opaque, you still get this beautiful sand finish. And to me, I have oily skin, so I still enjoy matte finish, like in general. Like if I mean, for the practicality of being an oily skin person, I feel like matte products do have a very strong place in my heart. Like I like glowy products. I want to have like glowy, beautiful, clean girl, but like I cannot achieve that. I'm an oily skin person, so I need powder on my face, and powder products tend to be more flattering. Matte finish actually really helps my skin to look like my skin, and this is great formula. A bit dry, I have to say, not creamy, smooth, silky at all, but dry. And Amazonian clay, like I would think that it has some oil controlling, mattifying quality in it. And also the two eyeshadow, they are so easy to use. You have a beige taupey nudie shade, and then you have a brown. I can throw 3 of them together and just have this full matte look, and the color is so beautiful. It's so neutral. I love neutral blushes. This is a face palette from IT Cosmetics. It's a CC Plus Radiance palette. In this one, you have a bronzer, a blush, and the finishing powder. I actually enjoy the finishing powder the most. So it's kind of like a radiant finishing powder. So, you know, like right now when people want to launch like a finishing powder with like a radiant shimmering finish, they have all sorts of name like beautifier, skin enhancer, something like that. It's kind of a phenomenon in the beauty industry right now, that people don't want to use the name that is meant for certain products to make it too ordinary. This is kind of the product that I think people would give it all sort of weird names, because it's not quite a highlighter, it's not quite a setting powder, it's a hybrid in between. And I can pass it in some days to use it as a blush as well, because it has this like pink orange tint in it. But like, to think about it, as a setting powder, I think it's a beautiful, gorgeous, radiant settings powder with a satin finish. No glitter, no dewiness at all. Just a nice satin finish setting powder. And there's a blush in it, but this blush is quite coral to my reference. I don't mind the bronzer, but it's really hard pressed and quite hard to pick up. So I prefer other easier to pick up, easier to blend, also more powdery, more soft and silky bronzer formula in my collection. This is Ace Beauty Bronze in Paradise. This is a bronzer palette, and you have 4 different bronzers in this palette, which is very unnecessary now that I got it and have been using it for a while. These are quite good formula when it comes to bronzer. They are standard, very matte, drier, not silky smooth, no cream to powder, nothing like that. Very standardized powder formula, but they are really good. They last very long, and they are very oily skin friendly, so I like them. But I think I use mainly the 2 lighter shade. I was thinking about, like, when I got this palette, I was thinking about getting them and use the 2 darker shades as my eyeshadows. I just don't really like brown eyeshadow that much to think about reaching for a bronzer palette and use 2 of the shades as eyeshadow, because I have other eyeshadow palettes to use them for that purpose. So this is such a miss in the way that I wish I could do more with it. I wish I could use it more. But it is what it is. One over palette here with me. This is the Good To Go palette. It's actually a face and eye palette. You have highlighter, you have blush, you have bronzer, you have some eyeshadows. You kind of have everything in this palette, and I appreciate the convenience that it brings. But I tried this one too late in the game. It's like I was late in the game, and I blame myself for that, because over highlighter back in the day was everything. Was every single thing that someone could dream for. It's maybe some of the best highlighters of that time of makeup, if you know that time of makeup. But it's too blinding for me. Like, it's too much. It's too intense. I just don't enjoy that highlighter look anymore. And the blush is okay. The bronzer is just okay. And the eyeshadows are very forgettable. Like, these are not the colors that I would want to wear because they are quite deep to my skin tone. Like, I don't know. Like, they are very warm toned. That's one way. And this green, I don't know why it has to be here. I would prefer like a lighter matte, or like a lighter rosy mauve-y shimmers from this palette. Yeah, so just, I don't know, this shade is shimmering rose gold, like really pink rose gold. Is really beautiful. This is an okay palette, but I don't get the hype anymore. I don't get the hype of over highlighter anymore. But not just the hype of the time. Like, even if I try it during that time, during the time when people still loved and used over highlighter, I don't think that I would use it that much, because maybe since the beginning it's not a formulations that make for me. I'm so mad at it, because like I have such a good chance to try 4 shades of over highlighter. So it's like so on the packaging it doesn't say these 4 are like certain colors, but I can tell they are 4 different beautiful highlighter colors mixed together in one pan. But I don't enjoy any of them, and I mean what else can I do? This is Mimi Classic Collection Afternoon Blush Palette. I have all of these shades with me, and they are quite beautiful colors. They are cool toned, which is good. I'm really into cool tone blushes, like I already mentioned earlier. This is like a nudie cool tone brown blush, and this is more of a pink but like purplish blush color. This one doesn't show up on my skin at all, and that's kind of my mistake. Like, it's not really annoying, but it's just weird that I keep purchasing blush or bronzer palette with multiple shades of blush or of only bronzer in a palette, knowing that there's one shade that doesn't show up on my skin. It's like, I don't mind if the color is odd. Like, if I want to be experimental, I would go for something that's unusual, it's okay. But if you have a useless shade like this, like it adds nothing to the game. Like there's nothing you can do about it. It's too light. It's just too light. Like you're applying extra powder to your face and looks really odd. It's just odd. It's just annoying, kind of, to me. And I enjoy the other two shades, and I don't know, like I gave this one not a very good rating, like in my mind, because it was very finicky to work with. I tried it a couple of times, maybe 50-50 chance that it's gonna work, but someday it's gonna be very patchy. I don't know, like this is a K-beauty brand, so I didn't have a lot of experience working with K-beauty blush formulations, so I don't really know up to this point how to make it work. Like it works when it's gonna work, and I would never know how. So I don't know. I'm still in between about this one. But like when it works, these two colors, you can already tell. Like these two colors are so cool and interesting and so unique. It's gonna go very well with a lot of looks that I've been doing right now. But even though I know that I have two beautiful colors, I don't really want to reach for this palette because I cannot trust it. And finally, I have this Clinique Cheek Pop palette with me. This is kind of a limited edition packaging. I think they've been doing this for a while. I'm not sure that they're still doing it. It's just like I'm not quite sure that this is still kind of the thing that they do during holidays. But it's usually 3 Cheek Pops products or like shades in one palette, and I think it's so cool. You can get it at a very good price. Like you pay for 2 to get 3, something like that, or like you pay a bit extra but then you get 3 different colors. Maybe the pen is a bit smaller, I don't know, but I got it at a very good price. And I think for Clinique with the Cheek Pop formula, I think this palette is wonderful. Once again, you can tell there's one shade in the middle. It's always this pale orange shade, like almost orange but yellow, almost skin tone shade that's like never showed up on my skin. And I should at this point maybe just give up the hope that lighter shades in the palette would show up on my skin. But I love I believe this is Blush Pop, this is Melon Pop, and this is Colourpop. Yes, so this is the name of the shades, and I enjoy the blush one and the Cola one. They are wonderful. This is a neutral pink, and this is a deep plum, and it has cool finish. It has this shimmering but very fine finish, shimmering but not glowy at all, similar to the formula in the MAC Mineralize blush, but even less glittery. Like, yeah, sometimes with the MAC one I can find obvious and real particles on my cheek. This one is like even finer, like something magical about it. It's just a cool, high quality feeling in terms of formulations, in terms of manufacturing, that make it has this very unique finish. And I know that it's a lot of people's favorites, and I don't know if I can find a formula right now that I can think of and know that it's very close to this one. There's something really unique about this, and they have gorgeous shades in the range. And that is everything. This has been a really long one, and it takes me even longer than the eyeshadow palette collections video to film this one, and I've enjoyed it really much, and I hope you had a good time too watching my cheek product and face palette collections. Once again, I'm Cloudy, and hopefully we see each other again. Bye.